Hello everybody, Final Richard. Gender benders. This is a contest entry into the Music Mam VC channel. I'm going to leave a link to her channel in the description. Now, there have been gender benders in music and in the arts forever. I remember in the 60s, I've mentioned before that a lot of my, well, not a lot, I think 3 of my uncles, a lot of my cousins worked in the studios. And I remember stories of my Uncle Aubrey talking about Rock Hudson and Jim Neighbors being a couple. And I was like, I was a kid and I was just thinking, ooh, they kiss, and thinking it was kind of weird. And a lot of people don't realize, they were a couple. Frank Sinatra. I'm just kidding. Okay, to be serious though. Walter Carlos. I'm going to concentrate on 5, but I'm going to show a few before I get to that 5. I mean, whatever. I'm going to do whatever I want. Walter Carlos. This is A Clockwork Orange. He did the soundtrack for 2001 Space Oddity. He did the soundtrack for Clockwork Orange. This is the music for it. It is not actually the soundtrack. I would like to get the soundtrack. Walter Carlos became Wendy Carlos. I had a couple of Wendy Carlos albums, but the last year and a half or so, I've been purging my records, and I purged the 2 Wendy Carlos ones, and I actually got pretty good money for those 2. I found them kind of boring. Another a jazz musician, Gary Burton. He came out of the closet in the 80s, and after 2 marriages, and the mustache is a dead giveaway, though. I remember we used to say back in the 70s, there are only 3 types of people who had mustaches: gays, cops, and kiss asses. Culture Club, Boy George, definitely a gender bender. And at the time I didn't know it, but they broke up because I guess he was having an affair with this guy, the good-looking guy. I remember my girlfriend back in the 70s, she goes, "Why are all the good-looking guys always gay?" And yeah, I guess they broke up as a couple and it broke up the band. And a modern artist is Courtney Barnett. I did not know that she was a gender bender, but I have since found that out. One of my favorite current artists. She's fantastic. Okay, now on to my 5. The first one is the Lou Reed, David Bowie interconnection. Now this is Lou Reed's album Transformer. At the time it was quite successful. His follow-up Berlin was not as successful. In fact, Rolling Stone magazine said it was terrible and da-da-da-da. And now in 2003, Rolling Stone included it into the 500 best albums ever, So Rolling Stone was famous for that. But yeah, the song Walk on the Wild Side talked about 5 members of Andy Warhol's Factory. And it's pretty controversial. Some controversial lyrics in there that were not censored at all. They played it on the radio, Not like today, all these super sensitive, they got to protect us bullshit. But yeah, Lou Reed, of course, was in the Velvet Underground, which was part of the Andy Warhol's Factory. And this is Lou Reed's Rock and Roll Animal. And he looks like a gender bender there, I would say. But I believe it was in the probably late 60s. I don't think it was the early 70s. David Bowie visited the Factory, Andy Warhol's The Factory. And then he went back to England, and he became this. And I saw an interview with, I think it was Candy Darling. And she said, yeah, David Bowie, he showed up and he was just a long-haired folk singer. And then he went back to England and, you know, he ripped us off. But yeah, David Bowie, man, he was a man of 1,000 faces back then. And Cosmic Vinyl showed this one, and you know, he even made the comment that he wasn't just a gender bender, he was a species gender. You know, he looked like an alien at times, you know. Okay, that was my first. My second was a heavy metal band, Judas Priest. I remember making a comment to a friend, a co-worker. He was kind of a dick, but that, yeah, Judas Priest are cool, man. You know, the dude, he's got, because I was into punk. The dude's got short hair and he wears spikes. And that's cool, you know. I can relate to that. And my coworker goes, Rob Halford's gay. I go, huh? I didn't know it. And he didn't officially come out until the 90s, but I guess there were rumors back then. But yeah, Rob Halford, heavy metal god. He was afraid to come out because he thought it would hurt his band, you know, sales and whatnot. But yeah, they were one of the best bands, heavy metal bands I ever saw in concert. The next one, my number 3, is Frank. This is the album Folk Singer. And here she is back here. She was in a band, Nervous Gender, back in 78. They were a distorted electronic band out of the LA punk scene, similar to the Screamers, who were fronted by a gay gentleman. But yeah, she was quite confrontational. In fact, they did a gig at, I think, the Gay and Lesbian Center or something, and I think it was like a lesbian charity event or something, and she was like calling them, I don't know, sissies and dykes, and she was like real confrontational with the audience. Similar to how Suicide they were. I did see Nervous Gender in the early 80s. Frank was no longer in that band. She became a member of Catholic Discipline, who were in the decline of Western civilization. I should have shown that album, but whatever. But after Catholic Discipline, she went solo, and she would do folk sets. And I saw her at the Whiskey. She was like, some punk band played, and then she was the second act, and then I don't know who played, Weirdos or the Dickies, or I can't remember. But yeah, she was quite good. And her songs are quite humorous. Ballad of a Dumb Hairdresser, Caped Crusader, Female Mud Wrestling. She was very cool. I dug her. And of course, every time I want to make a video, Coco starts barking. My fourth one is Husker Du. Now, I always pronounced them Husker Du for years. I mean, I guess the two little dots above the U should have been a... But I didn't know. You didn't have the internet back then. You used to just read about bands, you know. But I always called them Husker Du, but it's Husker Du. And I still keep this box set in the actual box it was shipped in, because it numeral group, and it's written like the Husker Du logo. But yeah, this is a fantastic box set. It's Savage Young Du. It's all their early stuff, the stuff before they became polished. The stuff that I like, actually. I don't really care for... Zen Arcade is good, but after that, they lose me. And actually, 2 members of Husker Du were gay. And, let me see. Here's a shot of them. This is a great... Here's Bob Mould. Gay dude. And I guess the drummer. And what's weird, I'm trying to find a picture. You never can find a picture when you need it, you know? Is, my mustache theory went out the door because the dude with the mustache was the straight one in this band, you know? Whatever. Here's a very early... Yes, it's all early pictures of them. But yeah, man. Later on, the straight dude, man, he had like a big handlebar mustache, you know? My last one I'm going to show is part of the queercore punk rock movement. Oh yeah, I forgot. This one's brought to you by Coca-Cola. Orange vanilla. I like it. No beer today. And this is Limp Wrist. I just love that. I love that cover, dude. It's offensive to some, but whatever, you know. This dude here, man, in concert, he's wearing his Daisy Dukes, prancing around. And here's a picture of him. Looks like totally nude. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, Limp Wrist. Side 1 of this is really great punk rock. Side 2 is more of a electronic ambient stuff, which I don't care for as much. But probably most people would probably like side 2 better. But yeah, Limp Wrist. That's it. I try to keep this short. It is a contest entry. You figure the person who's given the contest has to watch all these videos. So, you know, if you're going to do a contest entry, make the video short. I've seen, I'm not going to name names, do contest video entries, and the video's 40 minutes long. I mean, come on. This person can't watch every entry, you know, if it's 40 minutes long. I mean, come on. Don't be so fucking self-centered and selfish. Tomorrow, Super Bowl. I don't really care who wins as long as it's not the Patriots. Anyways, take care, everybody. Gender benders.